Hey you guys, I decided to do a video today, and this video is going to be themed along the lines of Halloween and Samhain. I'm sure you knew that. And before I begin, I just want to tell you guys this is my third attempt at doing a video today, and I guess that's just a little reminder that Mercury retrograde is here and it's kicking butt. So let's go ahead and move on. And as I do so, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to light my candle, my intention candle. I want to go ahead and tell you a bit about this candle. I've used this particular candle before, and once I'm finished with it and before I use it again, I always cleanse it. But it's entirely up to you if you want to let it burn out completely, to seal that intention that you were doing. That is fine. I do that sometimes too. But if it's a long burning candle, a large candle, you may not need it to burn for 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 hours, whatever it is you're trying to accomplish. So if that's the case, what I do, and I'm suggesting that maybe you would like to do it as well, is snuff your candle out. Never blow it out because you're blowing your intention away. Snuff your candle out. If you don't have a snuffer, what I do is I always save my lid. That's why you see the soot. And I put my lid on, and it'll snuff it out because, of course, there's no oxygen once you close it, and the flame will go out on its own. But this candle has already been pre-intentioned, if that's even a word. I blame Mercury retrograde, you guys. But there's already a intention placed upon this candle, and it's the intention of positivity. And that's fine, we're going to add to that. But if you just want to get a plain candle, a cheap candle from the dollar store, that's perfectly fine as well, because it's not the ingredient, it's not the tool, it's your intention. But you guys know this. So with our candle, I'm going to place an intention, and this intention is based on Samhain. As you guys know, what Samhain is celebrating is the end of spring, like the harvest season, and the beginning of winter, which is also known as the dark season. And just as the seasons end and begin, so are chapters in our lives. And so what I've always come up celebrating during Samhain with my grandmother is, of course, we're celebrating the seasons. We are celebrating and, communicating with the dead, our ancestors. We're doing that because that's what the dark season is, the thinning of the veil. But we also put a personal spin on it as well, and we are celebrating the end of a chapter in our lives and the beginning of a new chapter in our lives. And if you want to start a tradition with your family, that's great, do so. But if you just want to celebrate the basic, the traditional beliefs of Samhain or Halloween or whatever it is that you celebrate, you do what feels right for you. You do what you believe in your heart is right for you. And like I've said so many times, that's the beauty in our craft, because there is no right way, there is no wrong way. There's your way, there's my way, and of course, that's our way. So, with the intention of closing an old chapter and the intention of starting a new chapter, I'm going to light our candle if I can get to the wick. And if you want to have a look and set your own intention, please do so. But if not, join me in this intention that I'm setting. We're ending an old chapter in our life and starting a new chapter in our life. and it shall be. Because as long as we believe in an idea, and we hold it in our heart and we truly believe that it's going to happen, that intention will manifest. Just stay positive. And now I'm going to light, I don't know why I sat the candle up there, but now I'm going to light an incense. And it's a little mini. But with this being a celebration of the seasons, with this being a celebration of our ancestors, a celebration of the veil thinning, a celebration of us, ending one phase and beginning a new phase in our life, I'm going to clear our space, but I'm going to also get up and walk around in a clockwise way, Mercury retrograde, and I'm going to cleanse the room as well. So that's what I'm going to do now, you guys. And with the theme of being celebration of Samhain, and yes, that's my bones popping. I worked hard this week, you guys. But I would like to share some of my personal traditions that I would do with my grandmother. And if you would like to share anything with us, I ask that you just drop it in the comments section. I would love to hear from you guys, and I'm sure other people would love to hear what your traditions are, what your beliefs are. So, please drop it in the comment section. I just ask that you be courteous, don't be rude or anything like that. We all have our own personal opinion, and I just want this to be a safe space where we can share and we can, communicate with one another. That doesn't mean we have to agree, but we can be nice about it. So if you do want to share anything, please put it in the comment section. I know I would love to hear from you guys. And along with my little mini, I've got a little mini holder. And I had to get it. It was just too stinking cute, wasn't it? Okay, we're going to sit him over here in the background. And I've got one other thing, or actually two other things that I forgot. This is just, it's an incense, and it's one that I bought from a fair, and it is an incense, and it's used for calling on strength, courage, passion, and protection. And I thought it went well with the theme of ending one phase and beginning a new phase. And I just want to add a few little pieces in our candle to give our intention just a little bit of a kick. And so it shall be. I know I can't blame everything on Mercury retrograde, but I have been. And one other thing, this is a cleansing spray. And this cleansing spray was not intentionally made for today, but things happen and we have to improvise. So I'm going to share this with you in hopes that maybe if something like this happens with you in the future, that you'll have an idea of what to do. First off, this is just moon water, and I also have, it's hard to see, but I have a clear quartz point in there as well, and then I have lepidolite in there, and they're beads. And what happened was I had this sweet little bracelet that a friend made me, a stretchy bracelet, and I wore it often. And I fell asleep with it on last night. And when I woke up, it had broken in the bed, and I had these little lepidolite beads all in my bed, and I kind of got upset, and I was gathering my beads up, and I was like, I'm not a jewelry maker, and I don't even know if I should attempt to rethread these beads and try to, make a bracelet again, because I don't even know if I've got all of them. And then it just hit me. Well, you're planning on doing a video, and instead of using the intention spray that you have, why don't you make one out of some moon water and add those lepidolite beads in there, because lepidolite has the properties, well, it's useful, when you are working with your third eye or your crown chakra. It's very useful for that, but it's a stone of transition, which means when you are changing, when you're going from one way to another way. And I started thinking it intertwines with our theme of, ending one phase and beginning another phase, ending one season and beginning another season. So maybe, just maybe, something positive came out of my lepidolite bracelet breaking. I have to believe it did, because I really like this bracelet a lot, and I know it was made with love. But I think the beads used in an intention spray is just going to be another use for it. And you do know, when you have a stone or a crystal and you think that you've lost it, or it cracks, or it breaks, usually it means that it has served its purpose. It has done all it can do for you, or it has absorbed, or whatever its property was, and whatever its course of action was in your situation, when that crystal has cracked, broken, or whatever it may be, that's just a sign from the universe that it's served its purpose. And either you need to bury it and give it back to Mother Earth, or you need to, repurpose it, give it another reason, give it to a friend, use it in something else, and the universe will give us signs. And speaking of lost crystals, I was always taught that if you lose it, you've lost it for a reason. Either at that moment in your life, you don't need that particular crystal, you need to let it rest, re-energize. Or if you lose it and you never find it again, well, it served its purpose with you, and it's moving on to its new home. The universe is a very, very powerful being, a very powerful source of energy. It's just infinite, and it can do anything that it sees the need to do, that it sees fit to do. And sometimes the littlest of actions are actually the biggest actions. But I just wanted to tell you about my bracelet, and I know I'm getting sidetracked, you guys, so please forgive me. But let me get it going. I'm going to cleanse our space, and we're going to draw from the properties of the lepidolite. And then the quartz point, as you know, quartz gives you clarity, and it's also one of those stones that amplifies other stones, so it simply just makes our lepidolite that much stronger. And I really think my bracelet breaking was meant to be, because I've worn this bracelet so very much since I got it, and it's probably past due of serving its next purpose. And I really truly believe that purpose is to set intentions and cleanse this space for our discussion on Samhain and celebrating Halloween. Okay, now let's move on. Like I said, I know you guys know all of the traditions that go along with Samhain, and like I mentioned earlier, what it is a celebration of the end of spring, the harvest season, and the beginning of the winter season, which is also known as the dark season. And that goes hand in hand with the veil thinning. And when the veil thins, spirits and things of that nature can come through so much easier. And we can also communicate and work with that realm so much easier. And in doing so, we tend to do a lot of rituals and things, celebrating our ancestors or communicating with our ancestors. And we may build bonfires. We may have, huge meals that we dedicate to our ancestors. We may build our altars up to reflect that. I always put skulls on my altars or fruit, or I'll set out some wine, or sometimes I'll just use fruit juice, depending on what I have. I'll add leaves, I'll add acorns, sticks, anything from nature. Sometimes I don't feel like, just celebrating like big, so I'll do something simple, and I'll do something, usually right by myself. But when my grandmother was living, we celebrated together, and sometimes we would celebrate with other witches or other family members. But after her passing, I started celebrating alone and, with her spirit, and that's just the way I choose to do it. And as I always say, there's no right way and there's no wrong way, and that's my way. But sometimes I'll just go for a walk in the woods, and that in itself will be my celebration. And when I do so, I will connect with nature. I will actually speak to nature, to trees, to plants. I will speak to the animals. I will just speak out to the goddess. I will speak out to the universe, I will just connect. And sometimes I may go out to a graveyard, and I may do a little ritual or a little spell work there, honoring the people that have passed on, my ancestors, others' ancestors, Sometimes I'll just pull out my cards and I'll do a little reading for myself or maybe for a friend, because my grandmother was big on using her cards, and she had several kinds, not just regular tarot cards, but she had gypsy cards, and she had oracle cards, and she was very gifted in reading cards. She would read tea leaves, she would read candle wax. She was just very, very in tune and she was just very spiritual. And I know it's because I'm an Aries, but I'm very, very connected to fire. I always have been, even as a little child before I knew my calling. But sometimes I will build a bonfire to celebrate, and sometimes I won't feel like doing something quite so big, and I'll just go out in the backyard and build a small little fire. I may do spell work, I may chant, I may even dance, but sometimes I may just sit there and meditate with the fire, or sometimes I will leave an offering, by the fire. Sometimes I'll just speak with the goddess, sometimes I'll speak with my grandmother. And that's what I wanted to talk about with you guys. I just wanted to share some of the things that I do to celebrate. And I wanted to also touch on some of the things that I did with my grandmother. And the reason for that is because I just wanted, to show you guys that everyone celebrates differently and everyone has different needs, everyone has different desires. Everyone has their own way, and that's fine. You follow your heart and you do what you feel is right for you. And, for instance, my grandmother, she was big on stones, and I know that's probably what planted the seed within me for the love of stones. And what little knowledge I have about crystals came from her teaching me and always working with them. And I remember she used to always, she would go out and we would go on nature walks and she would find sticks, and she liked things that were unusual and different. And she would find them and she would bring them home and she would sand them, and she would make a wand. And then once she made it, she would cleanse it, she would bless it, she would place an intention upon it, she would put her energy in it, and whatever specific type of work she planned on doing with that wand, she would use a stone, or she would call to a particular goddess or deity and ask them to, place a bit of their energy upon it, and she would more or less energize that wand with the type of energy that would assist her in what she, was making it for. And sometimes on Samhain, that's all we would do. We would just sit down and we would make wands. Sometimes we would just sit down and she would read cards, different things. It just depended on the mood, I guess. But I was thinking about that, and it doesn't matter what you do or how you do it. It's the fact that you are actually physically sitting down, standing up, whatever it is, you're doing to honor. You're honoring the seasons, you're honoring your ancestors, you're honoring the goddess, you're honoring nature. You are doing something special to celebrate. It doesn't have to be what books say it has to be. It doesn't have to be what the internet says it has to be, or what Facebook says it has. It doesn't have to be what I say it has to be. It can be anything that you desire, just pull from within your heart. And just like with the wands, she would make those wands and then she would give them out as gifts sometimes. She would keep them and use them in her works. Sometimes she would just pull a crystal out, and selenite was one of her favorite, and maybe that's why I like it so much. And she would just pull that crystal out and she would start sending energy out to her loved ones, and she would start sending energy of honor and remembrance out to her ancestors, her loved ones that have passed, even her pets, even her friends' pets, even animals that she came across as we walked through the woods that were just wild animals. A little bird, a little squirrel, a little bunny rabbit. It did not matter whose or where or what, but what mattered was it was a creature that the goddess had created, and it no longer walked this realm with us, but when it did, it served a purpose just like we do, and she was thankful for that, and she would honor it. She would give it a bit of remembrance. And as silly as that sounds, that is what makes us who we are. Our little ways, our things that we do to celebrate, all of this goes hand in hand with who we are. And that's why I always say in our spell work, when manifesting an intention, just like this video, when we're celebrating Samhain, Halloween, whatever it is to you, you're reaching from within, you're pulling from your heart. And why I'm going in this direction with it is because, for instance, My grandmother is not here with us anymore, but I wish she was. So when I celebrate Samhain this year, I'm probably going to do some things that involve self love for myself. For one, I struggle with that and have been lately. And two, to love me is to love her because I know she is a part of me and I'm a part of her. And to love myself is to love the goddess because we're an extension of her as she is an extension of us. And if you think about it, we're all as one. So, in order to love others, we have to love ourselves. In order to honor others, we have to honor ourselves. So, my plans for Samhain is this little peach seed. I'm going to plant it, and when I plant it, this is going to be my intention that I'm planting. And my intention is to be better than I was, to be happier than I was, to love myself when I feel like I just can't or don't want to. I'm going to be a better me. And that little simple intention, I'm going to plant it and I'm going to care for that seed and I'm going to love it and I'm going to water it and I'm going to put it in a pretty little pot and I'm going to let it get sunshine. And subconsciously, that seed represents myself. That's going to be part of my Samhain celebration. And then this right here, my grandmother, she loved to crochet. So I always have kept one of her needles and I often use it as a wand. And as silly as it sounds, this little needle, I can feel so much of her energy. So I plan on taking this little needle and going out into the woods or maybe even the graveyard, and I'm just going to go for a walk and I'm going to connect with nature. And then when I come home, I think I'll do some self-love. I may give myself a facial, I may color my hair, I may buy myself a cute little outfit, but I'm going to do something special for me. And I just want to tell you guys that you should do the same. No matter how little, no matter how simple, do something special for yourself because, like I said, to love others, you have to love yourself. And the whole celebration of Samhain or whatever it is that you celebrate, we're going to end this season. So we're going to end this chapter in our lives. In this new season, we're going to celebrate the beginning. And with the new chapter in our lives, we're going to celebrate it. And let's start it out by loving ourselves. Let's do something to celebrate the love that we have for ourselves. Because if we love ourselves, we can love others. We can love the goddess. We can give remembrance and love to our ancestors. All I can really say is no matter what you believe or no matter how you celebrate it, if you believe, you will achieve. And that is the best advice my grandmother ever gave me. And I guess that's why I constantly remind you guys. And I just hope you all have a very, very happy Samhain, Halloween, or whatever it is you choose to celebrate. And much love. Bye, you guys.